Imagine a machine no bigger than a desktop printer that promised to revolutionize medicine. A device that could run hundreds of complex blood tests from just a few drops, quickly, cheaply, painlessly. This wasn't science fiction. This was the vision of Theranos, and it captivated the world, turning its founder into a Silicon Valley icon. But behind the dazzling promises, behind a staggering $9 billion valuation, lay a secret so profound, so dangerous, it would shatter lives, crush careers, and ultimately send its charismatic CEO to federal prison. Our story begins in 2003 with a 19-year-old Stanford dropout named Elizabeth Holmes. From the moment she stepped onto the scene, Holmes projected an aura of intense purpose. She had a vision to democratize healthcare, to make vital diagnostic information accessible to everyone, everywhere. Her company, Theranos, was founded on this audacious claim, a device, later known as Edison, that would perform over 200 different blood tests using only a few drops of blood taken from a simple finger prick. No more painful needles, no more bulky vials, no more long waits. This was the future, she insisted, and she was building it. The allure was undeniable. Holmes, with her deep voice and Steve Jobs-esque black turtlenecks, became a media darling, hailed as the next tech visionary. She assembled an unprecedented board of directors, including former U.S. Secretary of State George Shultz, lending an air of unassailable credibility. By 2009, Ramesh Sunny Balwani joined as COO, becoming her partner in both business and life. The money poured in. Major investors, captivated by the promise and the powerful figures backing it, injected more than $700 million into Theranos. By 2014, the company's valuation skyrocketed to a breathtaking $9 billion, making Elizabeth Holmes, on paper, worth $4.5 billion. In September 2013, Theranos publicly launched its services, even partnering with pharmacy giant Walgreens, setting up wellness centers and stores. It seemed unstoppable, a triumph of innovation, poised to reshape modern medicine. But beneath this glittering facade, the truth was far darker. The revolutionary Edison machine, the very heart of Theranos' promise, simply didn't work. It was a spectacular failure of engineering and science. To cover this gaping hole, Theranos resorted to an elaborate, dangerous deception. For most of its tests, the company secretly relied on modified commercial blood analyzers, the same bulky machines used in traditional labs but rebranded and hidden from view. And when the Edison devices were used, the results were often inaccurate and unreliable. Why? Because blood samples were sometimes diluted, making precise measurements impossible. Imagine trying to measure a pinch of salt in a swimming pool. The data would be meaningless. This wasn't just bad science. It was fraud, maintained through extreme secrecy, aggressive non-disclosure agreements, and isolating employees who dared to question. Holmes and Balwani presented false financial projections, painting a picture of success that simply didn't exist, all to keep the billions flowing in. Despite the airtight secrecy, cracks began to show. Inside Theranos, bright-eyed engineers and scientists grew increasingly uneasy. They saw firsthand that the Edison machines were producing wildly inconsistent results, if they produced any at all. One such employee was Tyler Shultz, the grandson of board member George Shultz. He, along with others like Erica Chung, raised serious concerns about the accuracy and reliability of the tests. But their warnings were met with hostility, threats, and dismissal. Theranos' culture was one of intimidation, where dissent was stifled and loyalty to Elizabeth Holmes superseded scientific integrity. These whistleblowers found themselves in an impossible position. Watch the deception unfold, or risk their careers and personal safety by speaking out against a company seemingly untouchable. Thankfully, some chose to speak. The truth often finds a way out, and in this case, it found its way to the seasoned investigative journalist, John Carreyrou, from the Wall Street Journal. Fueled by tips from courageous former employees like Tyler Shultz and Erica Chung, Carreyrou embarked on a relentless investigation. He meticulously pieced together the fragments of truth, battling Theranos' aggressive legal team and its powerful network of connections. In October 2015, the first bombshell dropped. The Wall Street Journal published Caru's damning report, revealing that Theranos was using traditional blood testing machines for the vast majority of its tests, and that its own vaunted technology was deeply flawed. The world watched, stunned, as the meticulously constructed illusion began to crumble. The fallout was immediate and devastating. Regulatory bodies swiftly moved in. In January 2016, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, reported that a Theranos facility posed an immediate jeopardy to patient health and safety, a terrifying condemnation. Walgreens, faced with mounting evidence and public pressure, ended its partnership with Theranos in June 2016. The company, once valued at $9 billion, was spiraling. Investors lost over $140 million due to the fraud, but the human cost went far beyond financial figures. Patients received inaccurate or unreliable blood test results, false positives for HIV, incorrect pregnancy monitoring, misdiagnosis of serious conditions. Imagine the anxiety, the unnecessary treatments, the potentially dangerous medical decisions made based on fraudulent data. Theranos eventually voided 2 years of blood test results, a staggering admission of systemic failure. In March 2018, the SEC charged Theranos, Holmes, and Balwani with massive fraud. By June, they were indicted on criminal fraud charges. Sunny Balwani left the company in May 2016, but couldn't escape justice. Theranos announced its dissolution in September 2018. Ultimately, in January 2022, Elizabeth Holmes was found guilty on 4 counts of defrauding investors. And in July 2022, Sunny Balwani was convicted on all 12 felony counts, including defrauding patients. Holmes was sentenced to 11 years and 3 months in federal prison, Balwani to 12 years and 11 months. Both began serving their sentences in 2023. The story of Theranos is more than just a tale of corporate fraud. It's a chilling reminder of what happens when ambition eclipses ethics, when the promise of innovation blinds us to reality. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of fake it till you make it culture, especially when real human lives are at stake. Elizabeth Holmes promised a revolution, a device that would change medicine forever. Instead, she delivered a multi-billion-dollar lie, leaving a trail of shattered trust, financial ruin, and in some cases, unimaginable medical anxiety. The collapse of Theranos serves as a stark warning. True innovation requires integrity, transparency, and a relentless commitment to the truth, not just a compelling narrative.